The day everything changed, Jade Bennett rushed through the morning crowd, her portfolio case banging against her hip with every hurried step. She was already 15 minutes late for her client meeting, and the Seattle rain had turned her carefully styled hair into a frizzy disaster. All she needed was one quick coffee stop, just one, and then she would make it on time. The little cafe on 4th Avenue was packed as usual, but Jade squeezed through the crowd toward the pickup counter. Her name was being called just as someone stepped backward directly into her path. The collision happened in slow motion. Hot coffee erupted from the cup in her hand, splashing across an expensive gray suit jacket. Oh no, I am so sorry. Jade grabbed napkins from the counter, frantically dabbing at the stain she had just created on what was clearly a very expensive outfit. The man turned around, and Jade's apology died in her throat. He was tall, with dark brown hair and striking green eyes that seemed to look right through her. His jaw was strong, his features sharp, and even covered in coffee. He looked like he had just stepped out of a magazine. I really am sorry, Jade continued, her cheeks burning with embarrassment. I was not watching where I was going, and I will pay for the cleaning, of course. An unexpected response to her surprise, the man smiled. Not a polite smile, but a genuine one that reached his eyes and made small creases appear at the corners. It is okay, he said, his voice deep and calm. Accidents happen. Though I have to say, this is the most exciting thing that has happened to me all week. Jade blinked in confusion. Who says something like that after getting coffee dumped on them? I am Ryan. He extended his hand, apparently unbothered by the coffee stain spreading across his chest. Ryan Westbrook. The name hit her like a second collision. Ryan Westbrook. The Ryan Westbrook. CEO of Westbrook Industries, one of the youngest billionaires in the tech world, constantly featured in business magazines and society pages. And she had just assaulted him with a vanilla latte. Jade Bennett, she managed to say, shaking his hand. I am really, truly sorry about your suit. Tell you what, Ryan said, glancing at his watch. I have a meeting in 20 minutes that I honestly do not want to attend. How about you let me buy your replacement coffee, and we call it even? A portfolio and a problem. Jade found herself sitting across from Ryan Westbrook 5 minutes later, nursing a fresh coffee, while he had ordered something called a cortado, which Jade had never heard of before. He had removed his jacket, revealing a crisp white shirt that somehow made him look even more put together. So what is in the portfolio? Ryan asked, nodding toward the black case she had set beside her chair. Oh, I am a graphic designer, Jade explained. I was actually running to a client meeting when I attacked you with coffee. Ryan laughed, a warm sound that made Jade relax despite the strangeness of the situation. Can I see? He asked. Jade hesitated, then pulled out her tablet, showing him her recent work. She watched his face as he scrolled through her designs, noting the way his expression changed from polite interest to genuine appreciation. These are really good, Ryan said, and she could tell he meant it. You have a unique style. Modern, but with a warmth to it. Most designers either go to cold and corporate or to casual and unprofessional. You found a balance. Jade felt her chest swelled with pride. Thank you. That means a lot. We talked about design, about art, about the city, and Jade found herself laughing more than she had in weeks. Ryan was easy to talk to, not at all like the distant billionaire she had read about in articles. He asked her questions like he was genuinely interested in her answers. It's not just making polite conversation. Then his phone buzzed and his expression changed. He glanced at the screen and sighed deeply. Problem? Jade asked. Yeah, you could say that, Ryan set his phone down. My mother. She has decided that at 32, I am too old to be single and has taken it upon herself to fix that situation. The proposal arranged dates? Jade guessed. Worse, she has a list. An actual spreadsheet of suitable women she has researched. Daughters of business partners, friends of friends, women from the right families with the right connections. Ryan rubbed his temples. I have 3 blind dates scheduled for next week alone. Jade tried to imagine having her love life managed by spreadsheet and failed. That sounds terrible. It is terrible, Ryan agreed. And the worst part is, I cannot just tell her no. My parents, especially my mother, they do not understand that I am happy focusing on my work right now. They think I am lonely and sad, hiding behind my company. They do not get that I am just not interested in the dating games of my world." He looked at Jade then, really looked at her, and something shifted in his expression. "You are real," he said suddenly. "Excuse me? You are real. You treated me like a normal person. You did not recognize me at first, did you?" Jade felt her cheeks heat again. "Not until you said your name. I am sorry, I do not really follow business news that closely. Do not apologize. That is perfect." Ryan leaned forward. "I know this is going to sound crazy, and you can absolutely say no, but I have an idea." The arrangement explained. Jade listened as Ryan laid out his plan. He needed someone to pretend to be his girlfriend for 6 months. Someone his family would not expect. Someone genuine, who would not be impressed by his money or status. Someone like her. In exchange, he would pay her $50,000 and help her make connections in the design world that could launch her career to a new level. "You want me to be your fake girlfriend?" Jade said slowly, trying to process what she was hearing. "I know it sounds ridiculous," Ryan admitted, "but think about it. You would attend some events with me, meet my family a few times, let photographers take some pictures of us together. After 6 months, we stage a quiet breakup. No drama, no complications. You get financial freedom and career opportunities. I get my family off my back." Jade thought about her student loans, the $30,000 that hung over her head like a dark cloud. She thought about her tiny apartment, her aging laptop, the client meetings where she felt like she had to beg for work. $50,000 would change everything. "Why me?" she asked. "You could hire an actress or ask someone you know." Ryan's smile returned. "Because when you spilled coffee on me, you did not see a billionaire. You saw a person you had accidentally wronged, and you genuinely wanted to make it right. That smile of yours, when you were apologizing, it was not calculated or fake. It was just you. That is exactly what I need." Making the decision, Jade stared at her coffee, her mind racing. This was insane. This was the plot of a romantic comedy, not something that happened in real life. She should say no, thank him for the coffee, and walk away. But then she thought about checking her bank account before buying groceries. She thought about turning down girls' nights because she could not afford them. She thought about the opportunities that passed her by because she did not have the right connections. "I would need everything in writing," Jade heard herself say. "A contract with clear terms and boundaries." Ryan's face lit up. "Absolutely. My lawyer will draft something this week, and I need to be able to walk away if it gets too uncomfortable, of course." "And you promise this is just business? No weird expectations or complications?" Ryan extended his hand across the table. "Just business." "You have my word." Jade looked at his hand, then at his face, seeing the hope and relief there. She thought about that smile he had mentioned, the one he said was genuine. Maybe she was crazy, but she found herself reaching out and shaking his hand. "Okay," she said. "I will do it." The first event, 3 days later. Jade stood in front of her bathroom mirror, barely recognizing herself. A stylist Ryan had sent over had transformed her into someone who looked like she belonged at a high society charity gala. The emerald green dress hugged her curves perfectly. Her hair was swept up in an elegant style, and the makeup was subtle but stunning. "You look like a princess," Megan breathed from the doorway. "I cannot believe you are going to a gala with Ryan Westbrook." Jade had told Megan the truth about the arrangement. She trusted her best friend completely, and besides, she needed someone to know in case everything went horribly wrong. "I look like I am playing dress-up," Jade corrected, smoothing down the dress nervously. "You look beautiful," a deep voice said from behind Megan. Jade turned to find Ryan standing in her apartment doorway, looking devastatingly handsome in a black tuxedo. For a moment, she forgot how to breathe. "You look great," Ryan said, his eyes warm with appreciation. "Ready? As ready as I will ever be?" Under the spotlight, the gala was held at the Grand Pacific Hotel, a historic building with soaring ceilings and crystal chandeliers that probably cost more than Jade's entire apartment building. A red carpet stretched from the street to the entrance, lined with photographers and reporters calling out questions. Just smile and stay close to me, Ryan murmured as they stepped out of the car. His hand found hers, warm and steady. We are going to be fine. The cameras started flashing immediately. Jade heard voices calling Ryan's name, asking who she was, demanding to know if this was his girlfriend. Ryan just smiled and guided her forward, his hand never leaving the small of her back. Inside, the ballroom was filled with Seattle's elite. Designer gowns, expensive jewelry, conversations about mergers and acquisitions, and vacation homes in exotic locations. Jade felt like an alien who had landed on a strange planet. "Breathe," Ryan whispered in her ear. "You belong here just as much as anyone else." They made their way through the crowd, Ryan introducing her to business partners and socialites. Jade shook hands and smiled, trying to remember names and faces. Everyone was polite, but she could feel them sizing her up. Wondering who this unknown woman was and where she had come from, an unexpected connection. Then Ryan's parents appeared. Patricia Westbrook was elegant in a silver gown, her blonde hair perfectly styled, her blue eyes sharp and assessing. David Westbrook was tall like his son, with gray hair and a stern expression that seemed permanently fixed on his face. "Mother, father," Ryan said, his tone carefully neutral. "I would like you to meet Jade Bennett." "Jade, these are my parents." Patricia's smile was polite but cold. "Miss Bennett, how lovely to meet you. Ryan has not mentioned you before." "We have been keeping things quiet," Jade said, finding her voice. "Still getting to know each other and—" "What is it you do, dear?" Patricia asked, her tone suggesting she already knew the answer would not be impressive. "I am a graphic designer." "How nice," Patricia said in a way that clearly meant the opposite. "And your family?" "My mom is a teacher, and my dad runs a small construction company," Jade said, lifting her chin. "They worked hard to put me through school, and I am proud of them." Something flickered in Patricia's eyes. Not approval exactly, but something close to respect. "Hard work is admirable," David said, speaking for the first time. "We need more of that in the younger generation." A moment of truth later, after they had eaten and Ryan had given a speech about the children's charity they were supporting. He led Jade onto the dance floor. His hand settled on her waist and she placed hers on his shoulder, suddenly very aware of how close they were.
You were amazing tonight,"
Ryan said as they swayed to the music. "My mother was impressed, which is nearly impossible." She did not seem impressed. She seemed suspicious. "For my mother, that is practically a standing ovation." Ryan's smile was warm. "Thank you for doing this. I know it was not easy." Jade looked up at him, at the sincerity in his green eyes, at the way the chandelier light caught in his dark hair. This was supposed to be fake, just a business arrangement. So why did her heart suddenly feel like it might beat out of her chest? "Ryan," she said softly. "Yes." She wanted to say something, anything, but the words would not come. Instead, she just smiled. That genuine smile he had mentioned in the coffee shop. Ryan's expression changed, his eyes darkening with something she could not quite name. His hand tightened slightly on her waist, and for one breathless moment, Jade thought he might kiss her right there on the dance floor in front of everyone. Then the music ended, and the spell broke. They stepped apart, both suddenly awkward, the air between them charged with something neither of them had expected. "We should probably go," Ryan said, his voice slightly rough. "Yes," Jade agreed, her heart still racing. "Probably." As they left the gala, photographers snapping pictures of them together. Jade realized with a sinking feeling that this arrangement might be more complicated than either of them had planned, because fake relationships are not supposed to make your heart race. They are not supposed to make you forget to breathe when someone looks at you. They are not supposed to feel this real. But as Ryan held her hand while helping her into the car, as his thumb traced gentle circles on her palm, Jade had to admit the truth to herself. This might have started as pretend, but her feelings were becoming dangerously real. Sunday brunch with the Westbrooks. The Westbrook estate sat on 10 acres of pristine waterfront property. The kind of place that made Jade's childhood home look like a dollhouse. She stood in front of the massive iron gates, her stomach twisting with nerves, as Ryan's car wound up the long driveway lined with perfectly manicured hedges. "Relax," Ryan said, glancing over at her. "It is just brunch. My parents want to get to know you better. Your mother looked at me like I was a puzzle she could not solve at the gala," Jade reminded him. "And your father barely said 10 words to me. It means they are interested. If they did not care, they would have ignored you completely." Ryan reached over and squeezed her hand. "Besides, you handled them perfectly last time. Just be yourself." But being herself felt impossible in a place like this. The mansion was enormous, with tall white columns and floor-to-ceiling windows that overlooked Puget Sound. Inside, everything was elegant and expensive, from the marble floors to the artwork that probably costs more than Jade would make in her entire lifetime. Patricia appeared in the foyer, dressed in a cream-colored pantsuit that probably cost thousands of dollars. "Jade, dear, so glad you could join us. Come, brunch is served on the terrace." Getting to know Youth Terrace overlooked a garden that looked like it belonged in a magazine. White roses climbed trellises, and a fountain burbled peacefully in the center of a stone courtyard. The table was set with fine china and crystal glasses, and a staff member in uniform stood ready to serve. David Westbrook was already seated, reading something on his tablet. He looked up when they arrived, giving Ryan a nod and Jade a brief, assessing glance. "So, Jade," Patricia said as they took their seats, "Ryan tells us you have been dating for about 2 months now. How did you meet?" Jade and Ryan had practiced this story. "I spilled coffee on him at a cafe," Jade said with a small smile. "Not my finest moment, but Ryan was very gracious about it." "She offered to pay for the dry cleaning," Ryan added, his eyes warm. "Most people in that situation would have just apologized and walked away. But Jade stayed, made sure I was okay, and we ended up talking for over an hour." "How romantic," Patricia said, though her tone suggested she found it anything but. "And what are your career goals, dear? Surely you do not plan to be a graphic designer forever." The question stung, even though Jade knew it was not meant as a compliment. "Actually, I love what I do. I would like to eventually open my own design studio, take on bigger clients, maybe teach workshops for young designers." "Admirable," David said, setting down his tablet. "But modest goals for someone dating my son. People will expect more from you." "With all due respect, Mr. Westbrook," Jade said carefully, "I am not dating your son for his connections or his money. I am with him because he makes me laugh, because he is kind, and because when I am with him, I feel like the best version of myself." Ryan's hand found hers under the table. Squeezing gently, Patricia studied her for a long moment, then surprised Jade by smiling. "You have spirit? I like that. Too many women see Ryan as a prize to be won, not a person to be loved." The media storm the next 2 weeks were a whirlwind. Photos from the gala appeared in every society blog and magazine. "Tech billionaire Ryan Westbrook off the market." Read one headline. "Who is mystery woman Jade Bennett?" Asked another. Jade's phone never stopped buzzing. Old classmates she had not talked to in years suddenly wanted to reconnect. Clients she had pitched 2 months ago were now returning her calls. Even strangers recognized her on the street. "Is this what your life is always like?" Jade asked Ryan one evening as they left a restaurant through a back exit to avoid photographers. "Pretty much," Ryan admitted. "You get used to it." "I do not think I will ever get used to it." They had settled into a routine of sorts. Dinner twice a week, always at places where they would be seen. Weekend activities that looked good in photos. Ryan was a perfect gentleman, never pushing boundaries, always respectful of their arrangement. But Jade found herself thinking about him constantly. The way he laughed at her jokes, how he always asked about her day, and actually listened to the answer. The protective way his hand rested on her lower back when they were in public. The rare, genuine smiles he gave her when no one else was watching. She was falling for him, and she knew it was a terrible idea. "A weekend away? I have a business conference in Portland this weekend," Ryan said over dinner one Wednesday. "Would you want to come? We could make it a mini vacation. Separate rooms, of course." Jade should have said no. Spending a weekend away would only make her feelings worse. But she found herself nodding. "That sounds nice." Portland was beautiful in late spring. Ryan's conference took up most of Saturday, leaving Jade free to explore the city. She visited art galleries, wandered through bookstores, and tried coffee at every cafe she passed. That evening, Ryan took her to a small Italian restaurant tucked away on a quiet street. No photographers, no society crowd, just the two of them sharing pasta and wine. "This is nice," Jade said. "Being somewhere nobody knows us?" "It is nice being with you," Ryan replied, then seemed to catch himself. "I mean, you make this whole arrangement easier. It does not feel like work when we are together." "It does not feel like work to me either," Jade admitted softly. Their eyes met across the table, and the air between them felt heavy with unspoken words. Ryan reached across, his fingers brushing hers. "Jade, I've been thinking." His phone rang, shattering the moment. Ryan sighed and glanced at the screen. "It is my father. I should take this." By the time he returned, the moment had passed. But later that night, as Jade lay in her hotel room, she could not stop replaying the way Ryan had looked at her, the way her name sounded when he said it. Blake Harrison's Games Monday brought new complications. Blake Harrison, a rival tech CEO who had been competing with Ryan for years, approached Jade at a coffee shop. "Jade Bennett," Blake said smoothly, sliding into the seat across from her uninvited. "Mind if we chat?" "I am kind of busy," Jade said, gesturing to her laptop. "This will only take a moment. I wanted to warn you about Ryan Westbrook." Jade closed her laptop. "Excuse me? Ryan and I go way back. I know how he operates. He uses people to get what he wants, then discards them when they are no longer useful." "Right." Blake leaned forward. "I did some digging. You two met right around the time his parents started pressuring him to settle down. Convenient timing, do you not think?" Jade's stomach clenched, but she kept her expression neutral. "I think you should mind your own business. I am trying to help you. When Ryan is done with whatever game he is playing, you will be left to deal with the fallout. The media attention, the scrutiny, the questions about why Seattle's most eligible bachelor dumped you." "We are done here," Jade said, standing up. Blake handed her a business card. "When it all falls apart, call me. I can help minimize the damage to your reputation." Jade threw the card in the trash on her way out, but Blake's words haunted her all day. Caroline's entrance the following week. Ryan's company held a product launch event. Jade wore a navy blue dress and practiced her smile in the mirror. Preparing for another night of pretending, she was standing by the bar, waiting for Ryan to finish talking to investors, when a stunning blonde woman in a red dress approached. "You must be Jade," the woman said with a smile that did not reach her eyes. "I am Carolyn Foster, Ryan's ex." Jade's heart sank. Ryan had mentioned a previous girlfriend briefly, but he had said it ended years ago. "Nice to meet you," Jade managed. "Is it though?" Caroline tilted her head. "I should probably tell you, Ryan and I dated for 3 years. Everyone expected us to get married. Then one day, he just ended things. Said he needed to focus on work." She took a sip of champagne. "Now here he is with you, parading you around at every event. Makes a girl wonder what changed." "Maybe he found someone who made him happy," Jade said, surprised by the defensive edge in her voice. "Or maybe," Caroline said softly, "he found someone convenient. Someone who would not expect too much, who would not push for a real commitment. Be careful, Jade. Ryan Westbrook always has an agenda." Doubts and questions that night, Jade confronted Ryan in his car. "Why did you not tell me about Caroline?" Ryan's expression tightened. "Because she is not relevant. We broke up over 4 years ago. She said everyone expected you to marry her." "Everyone except me," Ryan said firmly. "Carolyn and I were never right for each other. She wanted the lifestyle, the status, the idea of being Mrs. Ryan Westbrook. She did not want me. And what do I want?" Jade asked quietly. Ryan turned to look at her. "What do you want, Jade?" The question hung between them, heavy and dangerous. Jade wanted to tell him the truth, that she wanted him, that this stopped being fake weeks ago, that she was terrified of getting her heart broken. But before she could answer, Ryan's phone rang again. His father. "I need to take this," Ryan said apologetically. Jade listened to the one-sided conversation, hearing David Westbrook's stern voice even through the phone. When Ryan hung up, His expression was troubled. My father wants to meet with you, alone. Father's warning. David Westbrook's office was in downtown Seattle. On the top floor of a building that bore his family's name, Jade sat across from him, feeling like she was being interrogated. Let me be direct, Miss Bennett, David said, leaning back in his leather chair. I have had you investigated. Jade's blood ran cold. You what? Nothing invasive. Just a background check. I needed to know who my son was involved with. David pulled out a folder. You have student loan debt. Your design business is struggling. Your apartment rent takes up most of your income. Now suddenly you are dating one of the wealthiest men in Seattle. Are you accusing me of something? Jade asked, her voice shaking with anger. I am asking if you understand what you are getting into. The scrutiny, the pressure, the expectations. My son's world is not easy to navigate. People will question your motives. They will look for any sign that you are using him. I am not using Ryan, Jade said firmly, even as guilt twisted in her stomach. Because technically, she was. This whole thing was an arrangement. But it had become so much more than that. At least for her. Because if you hurt my son, if you embarrass this family, you will find that we have very long memories and very deep pockets. David's expression softened slightly. Ryan has been different since he started seeing you. Lighter somehow. I just want to make sure that is real. The breaking point, Jade left David's office feeling sick. She had never lied well, and the weight of the fake relationship was crushing her. She called Ryan immediately. We need to talk, she said when he answered. They met at his penthouse apartment, a place Jade had only been to once before. Ryan could tell something was wrong the moment he opened the door. What happened? He asked. Your father had me investigated. He knows about my debt, my struggling business, everything. He thinks I am using you. He had no right to do that, Ryan said angrily. I will talk to him, so that is not the point. Jade's voice rose. The point is that he is not wrong, Ryan. I am using you. We both are. This whole thing is a lie, and I hate it. I hate lying to your parents, to my friends, to everyone. It is not all a lie, Ryan said quietly. What? You asked me in the car what you want. You never answered, but I can tell you what I want. Ryan took a step closer. I want to stop pretending. I want this to be real. Jade's heart hammered against her ribs. Ryan, you do not mean that. I do. I have for weeks now. Maybe since that first night at the gala, when you smiled at me and I forgot to breathe. He reached for her hand. Tell me you do not feel it too. Tell me I am alone in this. She could not tell him that, because she did feel it. She felt it every time he looked at her, every time he laughed at her jokes, every time his hand found hers. But she also felt the fear, the certainty that this could never work, that his world and her world were too different, that when this arrangement ended, she would be left with a broken heart and a life that felt empty without him in it. I cannot do this, Jade whispered, pulling her hand away. I cannot be what you need. Look at what just happened with your father. He is right. I do not belong in your world, Jade. No, Ryan. This was a mistake. All of it. Tears burned her eyes. I want out of the contract. I will pay back the money. I do not care about the money. Ryan's voice was rough with emotion. I care about you. You should not. Jade grabbed her purse, needing to leave before she completely fell apart. This was always temporary. I am sorry if you forgot that, but I cannot do this anymore. Find someone else to play your girlfriend. I am done. She left before Ryan could respond, before she could see the hurt in his eyes, before she could take back the words and tell him the truth, that she loved him, that leaving him was going to destroy her, that she was the biggest coward in the world for running away from the best thing that had ever happened to her. But sometimes love was not enough. Sometimes the gap between two worlds was too wide to bridge at least. That is what Jade told herself as she cried the entire way home. 3 weeks of emptiness. Jade threw herself into work with an intensity that worried. Megan, she took on every project offered to her, worked late into the night, and refused to check social media where photos of her and Ryan still circulated with speculation about their sudden disappearance from the public eye. You need to eat something, Megan said, setting a plate of food beside Jade's laptop. You have lost weight. I am fine. You are not fine. You have been miserable since you walked away from Ryan. I did the right thing, Jade insisted, not looking up from her screen. It was never real. It was just a business arrangement that got complicated. Was it, though? Megan sat down. Because from where I was standing, that man was completely in love with you. Jade's hands stilled on the keyboard. He was not in love. He was just confused. Right, and you spent the last 3 weeks crying yourself to sleep because you were not in love with him either. Jade finally looked at her best friend. What was I supposed to do, Megan? Stay in a relationship that started as a lie? His father thinks I am a gold digger. His ex-girlfriend told me I was just convenient. How was that ever going to work? By fighting for it, Megan said softly. By being honest about your feelings, instead of running away. Ryan's confession, while Jade buried herself in work, Ryan was falling apart in his own way. He missed meetings, snapped at employees, and spent hours staring at his phone. Wanting to call Jade but not knowing what to say, Patricia noticed immediately. She showed up at his office unannounced, took one look at her son, and closed the door behind her. You look terrible, she said bluntly. Thank you, Mother. That is exactly what I needed to hear. Where is Jade? I have not seen any photos of you two in weeks. Ryan rubbed his face tiredly. We broke up. Or rather, she ended things. Because Father had her investigated. Because people kept questioning her motives. Because she convinced herself she did not belong in my world. Ryan's voice was bitter. Because I was an idiot who let her walk away. Patricia sat down across from him. Ryan, I need to ask you something, and I want you to be honest. Was Jade real? Or was she another one of your strategic moves? Ryan looked at his mother, saw the genuine concern in her eyes, and the truth came pouring out. He told her everything. The coffee shop collision, the arrangement, the contract, the plan to fake a relationship for 6 months, and then he told her how it changed, how Jade became the most important person in his life, how losing her felt like losing a piece of himself. When he finished, Patricia was quiet for a long moment. So you hired her to play your girlfriend to get me off your back about? Settling down, she said finally. Yes. And then you fell in love with her for real. Yes. And now she thinks the whole thing was fake and that she was just playing a role. Yes. Patricia stood up. Ryan, you are a brilliant businessman, but in matters of the heart, you are absolutely clueless. Do you? Because the woman you love thinks you do not really want her, that she was just a convenient solution to a problem. And instead of telling her the truth, showing her how you feel, you let her walk away. She said she was done. What was I supposed to do? Fight for her. Patricia's voice was sharp. Show her that this is not about convenience or arrangements or 6-month contracts. Show her that you choose her, not because of some deal, but because she is the only one you want. A gallery opening 2 days later, Megan burst into Jade's apartment, waving her phone. You are not going to believe this. The Riverside Gallery downtown is hosting an emerging artist showcase next Friday, and they want to include your work. Jade looked up from her laptop. What? I may have submitted your portfolio to them a few months ago. They loved it. They want to feature 10 of your designs in a group show. Megan was practically bouncing. This is huge, Jade. Art critics, potential clients, everyone who matters in the Seattle design world will be there. For the first time in 3 weeks, Jade felt something other than misery. Are you serious? Dead serious. The opening is Friday at 7. You need to be there. Jade spent the next week preparing, pouring all her heartbreak and emotion into selecting which pieces to display. She chose designs that meant something to her, that told a story, showed who she really was as an artist. She did not let herself think about whether Ryan would hear about the show. She did not let herself hope he would come, but deep down, in a place she was afraid to examine too closely, she wanted him there. She wanted him to see this part of her, the real her, not the polished version that had attended galas and society events. The grand gesture, Friday night, arrived cold and rainy. typical Seattle weather. Jade wore a simple black dress and nervous energy as she arrived at the gallery. Her work was displayed beautifully, lit perfectly, looking more professional than she had ever imagined. Megan had invited everyone they knew. Jade's parents had driven up from Oregon. Friends from college, former clients, even some of her current clients showed up to support her. The gallery filled quickly. An art critic from the Seattle Times spent 20 minutes examining her work and asking questions. A marketing director from a major tech company asked for her card. Jade felt like she was floating, like maybe her career was finally taking off. Then she saw him. Ryan stood at the entrance. Water dripping from his dark hair, his suit slightly rumpled like he had run there. He was holding something, a bouquet of sunflowers, her favorite flower. Something she had mentioned to him once in passing weeks ago. Their eyes met across the crowded gallery, and Jade forgot how to breathe. Ryan crossed the room, ignoring everyone who tried to stop him to talk. He stopped in front of her, and Jade could see that his hands were shaking. "Hi," he said softly. "Hi," Jade whispered back. "Your work is incredible. I mean, I knew you were talented, but seeing it all displayed like this..." Ryan shook his head in wonder. "You are amazing, Jade. What are you doing here?" "I came to see you. To tell you something I should have said 3 weeks ago when you walked out." Ryan took a deep breath. "I love you. Not because of any arrangement or contract or plan. I love you because you make me laugh. Because you challenge me. Because when I am with you, I do not feel like the CEO or the billionaire or the heir to some legacy. I just feel like me." Jade's eyes filled with tears. "Ryan, wait, let me finish." Ryan set down the flowers and took both her hands. "I know I messed up. I should have told you how I felt sooner. I should have fought harder when you tried to leave. But I was scared. Scared that you did not feel the same way, that I had imagined everything between us." "You did not imagine it," Jade said through her tears. "Then tell me there is still a chance. Tell me I have not completely ruined this." The truth comes out before Jade could answer. Patricia's voice rang out across the gallery. "Oh, just kiss her already. Everyone here wants to see it." Jade turned to see Ryan's mother standing near the entrance, David beside her. Both of them were smiling. "Mother, what are you doing here?" Ryan asked. "We came to support Jade, of course," Patricia said, walking over. "Ryan told us everything. About the arrangement, about how it started, about how you both ended up falling in love despite your best efforts to keep things professional." Jade felt her face flush. "You know?" "We know," David confirmed. "And while I am not thrilled that you both lied to us, I understand why you did it." He looked at Ryan. "Your mother and I, we have not set the best example when it comes to love. We married for the right reasons, the practical reasons. We forgot that sometimes the heart wants what it wants, regardless of spreadsheets and social standing." Patricia took Jade's hand. "When Ryan told me about you, about the real you, not the version we met at the gala, I realized something. You are exactly what my son needs. Someone who sees him, not his bank account or his name. Someone who makes him happy." "But I lied to you," Jade said. "I took money to pretend to date your son. Then you fell in love with him," Patricia said gently. "The lie does not matter anymore. What matters is how you feel now." Jade looked at Ryan, saw the hope and fear and love in his green eyes, and made her decision. "I love you," she said, the words tumbling out. "I have loved you for months. It's probably since that first night when you danced with me at the gala and looked at me like I was the only person in the world. I was just too scared to admit it, too afraid that someone like you could not really want someone like me." "Someone like you," Ryan repeated, pulling her closer. "You mean someone talented, kind, genuine, and so beautiful it hurts to look at you sometimes." "Yeah, I definitely do not want someone like that." Jade laughed through her tears. "I am serious. So am I." Ryan cupped her face in his hands. "I do not care about where you came from, or how much money you have, or whether you fit into some predetermined idea of what my life should look like. I care about you. Just you. Even though I am stubborn and emotional and sometimes eat cold pizza for breakfast, especially because of those things." Ryan smiled, that genuine smile that lit up his whole face. So what do you say? Can we try this again? For real this time. No contracts, no arrangements, just us? Yes, Jade whispered. Yes, absolutely yes. Ryan kissed her then, soft and sweet and perfect, while the gallery full of people erupted into applause. Jade heard Megan cheering loudly, heard her mother sniffling happily, heard Patricia say something about it being about time, but mostly, she just felt Ryan, his lips on hers, his arms around her, his heart beating against her chest, steady and sure and real. When they finally pulled apart, both breathless and smiling, Ryan rested his forehead against hers. I should probably tell you, he said. Blake Harrison tried to convince me you were only with me for my money. Blake is an idiot, Jade said firmly. That is what I told him. Right before I threatened to sue him for harassment if he ever approached you again, my hero Jade teased, but she was touched by his protectiveness. And Caroline called me yesterday, Ryan added. She heard we had broken up and wanted to meet for coffee. Jade felt a flash of jealousy and I told her I was in love with someone else that I had been for months, and that I was going to spend however long it took to win her back. Ryan kissed her nose. Then I hung up and started planning what I was going to say to you tonight. It was a pretty good speech, Jade admitted. I practiced in the mirror for an hour. They laughed together, and Jade felt like her heart might burst from happiness. This was real. This was happening. She and Ryan were together, actually together, and it was not fake or planned or temporary. 6 months later, the coffee shop on 4th Avenue was crowded, just like it had been that first morning when Jade had spilled coffee on a handsome stranger. But this time, Jade walked in confidently, knowing exactly who she was meeting. Ryan was already there, sitting at a corner table with 2 cups of coffee. He stood when he saw her, pulling her in for a quick kiss that still made her knees weak even after 6 months of real dating. You are late, he said, but his tone was teasing. Traffic was terrible, Jade said, sliding into her seat. How was your morning? Boring meetings and conference calls? But I am here now with you, so things are looking up. They talked about their days, about Jade's latest design project, and Ryan's company expansion plans.